the biggest question about the DCU is, who is our Batman? When are we getting him? And when is at least an announcement coming? Because we want to know. We want to start picturing it in our minds. When we look at David Corenswet's Superman, what is a Batman going to look like standing next to him? And I think that's really important. And I think James Gunn and Andy Muschietti know that's important, because recently on the interview circuit of It, the Welcome to Derry TV series on HBO, Muschietti's been getting some questions about what's going on with Batman. Are you still attached? When are we going to find out anything? And here's what he had to say. This comes to us from IGN. They say Batman's arrival in the rebooted DCU is perhaps the most anticipated super reveal in James Gunn's fledgling new universe. I just said that. And Andy Muschietti, director of 2017's It, in the follow-up It Chapter 2 and 2023's clinical and commercial failure, The Flash, is down to direct the Batman Brave and the Bold for James Gunn's DCU, but we haven't heard much in the past year. But Andy Muschietti, as he was interviewing for HBO's It, Welcome to Derry, he did confirm that, yes, the intention is still to direct it. It's still going to be the Brave and the Bold, but we can't talk about it. Then Andy Muschietti perhaps went further than he was allowed to when he added, we have to wait a couple months to start talking about it. I screwed it already, is what he said. Variety framed this as Andy Muschietti realizing that saying he has to wait a couple months to talk about his Batman movie may itself have been letting slip too much information, which says a lot about the secrecy surrounding this movie. But if that's true, then we may get our first proper insight into what Gunn and Muschietti have planned for the DCU's Batman by the end of the year. As you guys know, last month, Gold told IGN that plenty of things are in flux when it comes to the Brave and the Bold. He says, I like where we are on the script. Gunn previously called Damian Wayne a little SOB, and also his favorite Robin, back early when him and co-CEO Peter Safran unveiled the Gods and Monsters slate. And so it seems like maybe Muschietti slipped on, we possibly are getting an announcement of who could be our Batman in the next few months, potentially at the end of this year. I want to ask you, based on the comments from Muschietti, and of course the comments that we've talked about previously with James Gunn, what do you think about the potential that we will be getting an actual announcement of who could be playing Batman within the next few months? And if that is truly what Muschietti meant when he said, whoops, I already screwed it.
I think that they have the script, and I think that they have the couple people they have in mind to play Batman. They're keeping it tight under wraps. I feel like what James Gunn is doing, which is I think is really smart, and his team is giving out mixed signals of stuff so that people won't go digging. Because there's been reports that Muschietti was out on Batman. Now he's saying, no, I'm still doing it. And all these different, James Gunn saying, oh, it's really hard to figure Batman out and all this other stuff. I think that they're purposely throwing our wires different places. So what happens with the MCU, where like everything is just thrown out into the rumor mill all the time, doesn't happen. Like now that Andy said this, now everybody's going to be running with this. Oh my God, who's going to be Batman? And they start fan casting. And everybody's fan casting, and instead of trying to dig for more information. So I think they're doing a smart job. I think they have what they need to get it done. Andy, despite the Flash not doing so well critically and commercially, is talented. And I think that he has written a script that James Gunn likes. And I think that we're going to have a Batman. I think with Clayface coming soon, and with James Gunn saying we need to focus more on the Justice League members, him like saying that out loud. Because first it felt like he wasn't. It felt like he was just going to do a bunch of obscure characters, and then we'll get the Justice League members in random spots. But I feel like now that there's more of a focus, like, okay, Zaslav wants the big money characters out. I think they have their Batman, and they're just going to wait for the perfect time to drop it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And honestly, shoot me if you want. I am the Flash apologist. Yes, does it have really bad CGI at a lot of the parts? Yeah, it does. But it is an overall pretty entertaining and fun movie to see Michael Keaton back as the Batman and be able to fight in a style that he wasn't able to do because the technology didn't exist in 89 is a really great way to show how awesome Michael Keaton is as Batman.
Yeah,
Sarah Callies, who played Supergirl, did a fantastic job. And there were some really great moments between her and the other cast members. So,
yeah,
a lot of people poo poo on The Flash, but I don't think it is a bad movie by any means. I
I
think
agree.
it got run through by, the controversy with the lead actor and,
Yeah,
the purchase or the rebranding of the DCEU to the DCU in the middle of it with a new head of
yeah.
studio. And, all this stuff really played a role into having that bad boy perform that badly. But
And James Gunn saying
overall,
it's the greatest superhero, one of the greatest superhero movies ever
yeah,
created, did not help that movie at all.
no, he was trying. He was lying out his teeth, but he was trying. But I was highly entertained. And I think Andy Muschietti, the one thing that you can't deny is that he is a very character driven director. He loves the characters in the sandboxes he gets to play in. Like he really, really looks around and appreciates the position he is and takes full advantage of it, whether it's chapter 2, a lot of people talk ish about it, but whether you talk crap or not, you can't deny that like he is a very character driven director, and that's what you need for a Batman or a Bat family movie, is someone that's truly going to care about the characters and have those interactions matter and make sense to the story. And I think Andy Muschietti is the director that could pull that off. So I am happy that at least we're getting some kind of confirmation that he is still on the movie.
Yeah.
When it comes to Batman and the announcement, I don't know if his comments quite mean that we're getting a casting announcement.
Mm.
It could easily mean that we are getting a date announcement for when this is coming out and a writer and director is fully confirmed. It could easily mean that instead of we're going to find out who Batman is before we even know what the story is. All we know is Batman Brave and the Bold, Bat Family. That's really all we know. We haven't gotten any real concrete details. So
Yeah.
I wish it was, but I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch. Before we move on from this, I do want to ask you, do you have anyone in mind that you would like to play Batman? I know, Yellowstone guy, is people are hot
Yellowstone
on
guy?
his name. 1923 guy. I can't think of his name. Who would I'd rather have him play Indiana Jones, but you know what I'm talking about. He was on Drop, in the movie Drop.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard people really want him as Batman.
Yeah, I don't
I've,
I don't want to lead you to that. I just know that's like a hot one. Is there anyone that you have in mind that you would like to see up next to David Cornsweet? Don't forget
um
it, David Cornsweet.
they are going an older route because if Damian Wayne is in play, that means this Batman needs to be at least in his
40.
40s.
Yeah.
Because he's a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have fan casted John Hamm. I don't know if it's finally time to give him the shot. I think
He's too
that
old. He's like 60.
he's like, yeah, but there's some people playing a lot older than
And he is fantastic. Like Your Friends and Neighbors on
yeah.
his show on Apple. Did you get a chance to watch that?
No, I heard of it, but I haven't
You
watched it.
got to get back in the TV game, brother. There
I
is so
know.
many good, but your list is growing and growing for movies. But this show is really good. He does. If they announced John Hamm today, I would not be mad. I
Yeah.
think he is a fantastic actor, like hands down. You cannot go wrong. But is there anyone that you have in mind that you're like, I want him to be the Batman?
So there's this guy who I discovered through Mike Flanagan's work on Netflix,
Okay.
Haunting Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, called
Sure.
Oliver Jackson Cohen. That's his name. He also was in The
Oh, I
Invisible
wanted
Man.
him for Moon Knight. I wanted him for Moon
Yeah,
Knight.
I know he was. I know he was up for Moon Knight. A lot of people wanted him to because he's more
Jewish.
the ethnicity of the character from the comics
Right.
and everything. But I do think he has a range there where he can play emotional really well. He can play charming really well, and he also can play really really brooding.
Did
And
Did you see
even
the show Surface with
Surface.
Gugu and Bathura? It was about
No, that's
Apple.
another show I had on my list to watch, and
Okay.
I haven't watched it. He's in that too.
He is in that. And it's I could see some Batman. Like I
Yeah,
I I think that is such a good pick, dude, because he is so good at playing this tortured soul with this vulnerability at the same time, and he has a great voice. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
And you also, since you picked David Cornswet, who's unknown, right? You just pick unknowns to play this. You don't want
Yep.
anybody being too big because with the MCU they picked Robert Downey Jr., but Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson were already known. It's not like they
Yeah.
came in and nobody knew people knew who Jeremy Renner was. I think not Tom, Chris Hemsworth was the only one that was kind of unknown until
Yeah.
Thor happened.
Oh,
But for
no,
the most part,
100%. No, no,
yeah,
no.
for the most part,
Let
everyone knew
let
who Mark Ruffalo was.
I agree. Let the role make the actor.
Yeah,
Don't let the actor make the role,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. That's the mistake sometimes they make with superhero movies. They cast these actors and then the actor's personality take over the character instead
Yeah.
of them playing the character. That
Yeah,
looks like Bruce Wayne.
I think you're on to something. 86 is a little young, but he's almost 40, right? He's
Yeah.
39. So that's right there. The voice, the brooding, he can get big. He's over 6 feet. Like there's all these things that check the box. He can look suave, he can look haggard. Like there's such a, when we talked about the casting for Batman based on the comments James Gunn made,
Yeah.
there's such a specific thing. He was talking about how hard it is to cast Batman because he's in the cowl. But you're not just casting Batman when you're casting Batman. You are casting Bruce Wayne and Batman. So the person that you cast, it needs to embody two different characters at the same time. And that is not an easy task for an actor. So I really think you're right that this actor is definitely someone, Oliver Jackson Cohen is definitely someone that can embody both characters.
Yeah. And
Dude,
Penny in the chat says something interesting. I would love for this to happen. I know it's never gonna be a thing that happens. If we get to the movie and we don't know who the actor is, I would love for them to figure out one day to do that with
that
one of
would
these
be
movies.
insane. That would be
Announce a
so
superhero
cool.
movie. We don't know who's casted months in advance, so people have to debate and all that crap. And then once they finally take, or the trailer starts, and it's like, oh, he's the one that's got casted. That would be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't do it in a show. Don't do it in Peacemaker. I don't want
Yeah,
any of that. If you're going to do it, it needs to be in one of the big three. So if you
yeah,
have a Superman movie again, I'm okay with that. If you have a Wonder Woman movie, if you're going to tease him in someone else's project, the project needs to be worthy of having a Batman be introduced in that
I got a
project.
question now that you said that. What
Yes.
about, because there are two Batman spin-offs happening, right? One announced, one in
Right.
the work.
Dynamic
How would
duo,
you?
right?
Yeah, Dynamic. No, I'm talking about Deathstroke and Bane.
Oh, okay. Okay. But it's not announced, right? Like
No,
there's been no
it's
movement on it.
yeah. They had a writer attached and stuff like. It's not officially
Okay.
announced, but it's like in the works
He
because
needs to be in that. He
Batista said
needs
he
to
tried to go for Bane and they told him no. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Clayface and that, right? I feel like if he showed up in those, not only does it elevate those projects, but also makes sense because those are his characters. I don't want it to be a situation with Venom and Morbius and Madam Web where we get these spin-off characters of characters that need to be attached to the hero, and the hero's nowhere to be found.
No, I agree. I agree. It needs to make sense for the project. And of
Yeah.
course, anything Gotham related, Batman related makes sense. I just think what they're trying to do with Clayface is like in the vein of like Joaquin's The Joker, where it feels like it's standalone. It feels like it's building the universe, but it's the Clayface's story, and they want to get like critic love. It seems like they really want like the substance within the vein for him to be like, look, we have a tour type Clayface movie. We have a space adventure Supergirl movie. We have a True Detective galaxy hunting show. Like, I think he's really trying to stretch, like, look at all the things that we can do at the same time and have it all be a part of the same universe. So I would love it. I just feel like in James Gunn's mind, he's like, oh, but it'll take away from the Clayface movie. You know what I mean? Is like the sense that I'm getting from his attitude on it. Like, he really wants us to be like a tour driven.
That makes total sense, especially the way he's talked about Clayface. It does sound like it's something that they think could potentially garner awards. So putting Batman in it, even though they did put Bruce Wayne and Joker and then kind of hinted to the greater universe in the first movie, I think it was so small that it didn't affect the film's Oscar chances. So I could definitely see them not wanting to even do an after credit scene with Batman.
Yeah, that makes sense. But only time can tell. And you did make me extremely frustrated because now all I'm going to think about is how Oliver Jackson Cohen is the perfect Batman. And I need it to happen because wasn't even on my radar. And I love that casting. I love that. That is a great casting. So you crushed it on that. And now I'm going to get you back because we got some good or no. So I'm going to make you frustrated, brother. Okay.
I think Black saw Johnny Heck said he wanted Tobey Maguire. That would be insane.
Yeah, I just think he's too much like scrawny and weaselly. I don't know. I
he probably could get bigger.
Like a brooding force. You know what I mean?
Have you seen Not Brothers? What's that movie he's in with
Brotherhood. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That was
his rage is good. Like even he's like, they lied to me, Carmine, like in like the chess movie or whatever, like they always meme that, like him lying, but let me know what you guys think. Do you think that we are going to get a announcement on the Batman casting per what Andy Muschietti is saying on the It tour right now? And if so, do you have a casting in mind for Batman that maybe we haven't thought of? Drop your comments below and let us know what you guys think.